Late at night, in the studios of Bob Doyle Media, a place of enchantment and whimsy where nothing ever goes wrong, sabotage is afoot, and things will never be the same.
Gee, it looks like they're really having some problems down there at Bob Doyle Media.
Hey, did you hear what's going on at Bob Doyle Media? They're trashing the place, totally trashing it.
Lydia, I promise it wasn't me. It was just some guy who looked like me. It's a case of mistaken identity.
Today on Bob Doyle Media, the updated features of Dzine.AI. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and as more and more of these AI platforms are understanding what people want, they're adding new features so that they can offer the most integrated tool set imaginable. And I know that there are a lot of services out there, but you know what? Everybody gets their chance to play, and you as the end user get to choose which set of tools fits your professional need, and they won't all fit your needs. My role here is just to show you what's out there, and then you can assess for yourself whether or not it's a good deal for you. Today we're talking about Dzine, and Dzine used to be called Stylar, and that's when I first heard about it, and its strength was stylizing photographs, but now it does so much more, and we're going to get into some of those exciting things. And I shared one of their new features at the beginning of this video because now they are doing image to video, and it's pretty high quality. So we're going to walk you through the basics of how Dzine works and how it's all laid out, why I think it is so cool, and preview their upcoming consistent character feature, which is under development, so that you can have consistent characters throughout all of your imagery, which is of course what everybody wants. Just so we deal with it up front, they've got pricing plans from free all the way up to $60 a month, depending on how much you need to generate, and that is completely up to you. And depending on when you're seeing this, they've got a 40% off sale going. You just put in thankful at checkout, so click there to learn more. The most important things to understand about Dzine, which it took me a minute to figure out, is it's project based. You're going to be dealing with a canvas, and a lot of these platforms have canvases where you just add image after image after image, and it's great for something like storyboarding, comparing images, joining them together. There's absolutely a place for that kind of canvas, but Dzine should be thought of more like Photoshop. If you've worked with that, you're creating one project just as you work on one image at a time in Photoshop in terms of an open file. Same thing is true here. You're going to be working on one image, but you've got so much you can do with the power of AI on that image that you can't do with something like Photoshop. And we've got layers like Photoshop too. So I'm excited to show you all of this stuff and hopefully not overwhelm you. My goal is always just to get your creative juices flowing and go, I didn't know I could do that. I'm going to go play with it. Now, once you create your account, whatever it is, you're going to have access to creating new projects and all of your other projects, and direct access to all of these AI tools like image to image, text to image, and so on. But we're going to be going through all of those in a more natural way as we go through this. You'll see that you can create your own styles. We're going to be doing that in two different ways, and quick access to some processes that you might access on an ongoing basis depending on what your profession is and how you use a tool like this. But ultimately, no matter which of these you choose, you're going to be digging into a canvas with some presets, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. At Dzine's core, and what it was known for when it was Stylar, was putting styles onto images in a really easy way with lots and lots of flexibility. And you can still do that just by clicking on New Project, and when it prompts you for a particular size, if you want to add a style to an existing image, you'll just cancel out of this because the image that you drag on will determine the dimensions of the canvas. I'll just drag in this picture of me and Tracy from a few years ago, and now the canvas is just automatically set to that. You'll see if I move this over, that checkerboard signifies where the canvas is. So we'll put that back, and if I just want to change the style on this, I can just click on image to image, and now we have access, when we click up here, to a whole library of styles, and you can get to them in a more segmented way by doing it this way. So if I wanted to, for example, convert our picture into a colorful felt style, I'll just choose that. The style intensity is how much of that style, that colorful felt, is going to be applied to this image. For this example, I'm going to pop it up to at least the strong level. The structural match determines how closely the image that is created maintains the composition of this one. I want me and Tracy to be in the exact same position, or at least very, very close. When the stylization is done, I would move this over to the top range. I don't need it to be quite strict. I like it to have a little bit of creative flexibility. I don't care about the color match, but I do care about face match. If you have that selected, it will identify and maintain the look of those faces no matter what it's doing around it. In this case, we've only got 2 faces, so we're good to go. We have the high quality option. Why would we not use it? Under advanced, we have negative prompt and seed options. I'm not going to deal with that right now either. And without a prompt up here, I'm going to click on generate. You can track the progress of the results right over here, and you'll see that it is going to give you 4 variations to choose from. And now we've got these variations of that picture in a felt style. That looks really good. If I like any of these and decide that this is what I want to work on for the rest of the project, or at least have it accessible to me in a layer in my project, I can double click it and now it will go on the canvas. Now, if we go to the layer section, we'll see that we have our original right down here with the non-affected one, and above that is the one that we just created. We can turn that on and off to expose the one behind it, and then we can just keep adding layers on top of it. Now, we'll do more of that as we go along. Right now, I just wanted to show you the basic functionality of just taking an image and converting it into a different style. And we're going to be doing plenty of that. Let's go back home, create another project. In this case, I'll just do a square. And here I'll show you the asset library. When I created my account, all of these were already in here. I can take them out and replace them with just what I want. If I have logos or pictures that I know I'm going to access on a regular basis, I might want to upload them to my assets, and then that way I can access them quickly from wherever I am in the program. But this is a great opportunity to show you another example of how design can be used with turning sketches of images into something amazing to look at. So let's just double click that. You'll see that it doesn't quite fill the canvas, but I'm just going to resize it so it does, because we're really just using this as a guide. Now we're going to go back over to the image to image category, and this time, instead of just going without a prompt, I want to put a prompt in here to help guide it even more. I could add colors or whatever, but if I don't know anything about prompting and I just want this to be easy, I can click on auto prompt here. The AI will look at the image and do its best to determine what it is and give you a prompt to begin with. So the image features a sleek, futuristic electric car with a streamlined design and large aerodynamic wheels. And it goes on. And if I wanted to add or change any of these details, I could do that right here in the prompt. So now let's choose a style. We can choose realistic things. We can go illustrative. Glass world seems interesting for a car. I'm going to leave the style intensity right about where it is. The structural match, I want it to stay here, at least for this render. There is no color to match. There's no face to match. And yes, we want high quality. Let's generate. Okay, so here are some of the previews of this with that glass style. Super cool. But what we really want to do is create from nothing except our imagination using text to image. Now, this text to image is not new, is it? You've probably been playing with it for a while, but it's nice to have it all built in here with the flexibility of the layers and your ability to create your own custom styles, which we're going to do in just a minute. Let's get started so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to create a new project. I like to work in the cinematic mode, so I'm going to go 16 by 9 and I'm going to click apply. So now I have this nice clear canvas to work on. I'm going to click on text to image and I'm going to first create a prompt. A deranged man is sitting on a subway holding a chocolate milkshake. Start with that as the prompt, and then for the style, wow, we could just do anything we wanted to. We've got all these realistic styles. We have flux, which I'm probably going to use just to begin with because it's a great starting point for realism, but then we'll play with some of these other. So let's start with flux. A deranged man is sitting on a subway holding a chocolate milkshake, and now we've got 2 variations coming up over here. There's one guy and there's the other guy. This guy or this guy? This guy or this guy? I think I like this one, but before I commit, I want to give this guy a chance to do a couple of other poses or some variations. So I'm just going to scroll down here and click on the number 2, which will create variations of this one here, and see if I like one of those better before I commit to what I drag onto the canvas. So here's a variation, here's a variation. It really just kind of changed the dude's face. We'll go with this one. I'm going to double click it, and now it is on the canvas. If we go to layers, you'll see it is the only thing on the canvas. We started with a brand new project. We used text to image to create our initial base image, and now we can work from this one. But let's start with playing with a few styles. Here's the really cool thing that once I got this, I was like, oh, this is so good. All of these tools here, text to image, image to image, image to video, everything here is available to you, and it's always going to apply to what you've got on the canvas right there. So this layer that I have chosen here, if I want to do image to image on it, I can. If I want to bring it into image to video and bring it to life, I can. If I want to bring it into the editor and do some stuff with it, which we're going to do, I can do it from here. I can work on the face from here. I can enhance it from here. I can turn it into a product and do all kinds of stuff. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's go back here. We're going to go to image, and we're going to play with a few styles here. As I showed you, they have lots of styles included, just a wide range of things to play with. You could lose yourself in it. How do I know this? Because I have, my friends. Or you can use styles that you create yourself. So let's click on My Styles up here, and you'll see that I've got 4 quick styles that I've done that are just based on a single image, and then I've done a pro style, which is more trained on images. I'm going to show you an example of all of them. To create a quick style, you just need an image. You just click on this, and now I can drag an image that has a particular style to it, like this, the surf coming in, or these aliens, or this old-timey painting. Let's do that one. We'll drag it in here, and now it shows up here as quick style. And let's just retype that prompt: man on a subway holding a chocolate shake. We'll move the style intensity all the way up because we want the full power of it, and the structure match all the way up because we want to apply the style to the entire image just as it is, and we will click generate. Here's a better look at the image that drove the style transfer, and then here are the results. We've got that old-timey sort of Norman Rockwell feel, and the man's in the same position still holding a chocolate shake. Let me show you how to create a pro style and what you can do with that. Instead of using one image, the pro style uses a collection of images for a bit more of a deeper dive into the style itself. I created a pro style from Salvador Dali paintings, and now I'll show you how I did that. You just click on pro style, you give the style a name. In my case, I called it Dali. Then I went out and found 10 images of Dali paintings that had the style that I wanted to be able to utilize in my prompts. Just select them all, drag them in, and click train. When I did that, I was told it was roughly 22 minutes for the training to happen, and when it was done, it showed up here. So let's use it. I'm going to take this opportunity to show you 2 ways to approach this style transfer. You can use it with a prompt or without a prompt. Obviously, without a prompt, it's just using the image that you give it to help guide what it does. But with a prompt, especially with a style like Salvador Dali, which has very specific looks and feels and different ways you would describe the images in a sort of surreal way, you can benefit, especially from an image to image where you want it exact, by putting a more precise prompt. So let's start with making a way more precise prompt than man on a subway holding a chocolate shake. And this is a more complicated prompt based on the style of Salvador Dali and what's in here. This is just something you can do if you want to take these kind of results to the next level, and maybe you don't get what you want by just the image alone, which we're going to look at in just a second. Let's move the style intensity all the way up. Let's give the structure match a little bit of a leeway and click generate and see what we get with this prompt. So check these out. Very Dali. We're keeping the same structure. The prompt definitely helps us. I'm going to prove it to you by taking out the prompt and just going back to man in a subway holding a chocolate milkshake. Let's just take the structure match all the way down and basically say, forget what you see here, and generate that and see what it comes up with. Okay, these are closer to what I'm talking about. This right here. Yes, I like that, right? I think this is my favorite. If I was going to keep one and work with it, I would choose this one. If you do like any image, they have an amazing upscaler to bring even more quality to it. If you've ever got a layer that you'd like to enhance, you can just click the enhance button over here. It'll take you to another screen, and based on the image, you choose whether or not you want portrait mode on. If you are trying to preserve faces, you definitely want to keep portrait mode on. In this case, this is way more of a creative endeavor, but I still want it to keep the basic structure, so I'm going to leave it down here in the low region and click on enhance. Now that'll take a few minutes to do, so we can check back on that later. Back in our project, we'll see that the enhancement is in progress over here, so we can track its progress too. Everything we do related to this project will be over here for you to access and change at any time, even if it's not on the canvas. Remember, these are assets that you have created or brought in. They're not necessarily part of your working canvas until you decide to put them on the canvas by double-clicking them. Let me show you a fun thing you can do with these layers. I'm going to go down to this image here, which I kind of liked, and I'm going to double-click it, and now it is on the canvas on top of the Dali layer that we just looked at. Right there. I'm going to now isolate this guy by using the remove background feature that you can do on any layer at any time. And now I've got this layer I can move around. Now we have this guy and this guy on the same train. Now, that's not necessarily the most expert blend. It's 2 different styles and they're on top of each other. But remember, anything that we see here on the canvas, we can apply any of this to, which means we could run an image to image on this and apply another layer of style or just a very subtle style just to kind of blend these in a little bit more. And this is really the power of these layers here. So let's do that real quick. We'll go image to image, and I'm going to adjust this prompt a little bit. Man sitting on the subway holding a chocolate milkshake across from another man holding a, I won't worry about it being chocolate, a milkshake, Let's put another layer of styling on this, but we'll do it really, really gently. I do want to maintain the structural match very, very strongly, but I'm going to take the style intensity of this hyperbolic portrait style, which is kind of like a caricature. I'm going to take it way, way down because I don't really want it to be too crazy. Let's click on Generate. Our enhancement's done, by the way, so we can go check it out by clicking on Enhance and then go back and forth and see what it did. Now, in this case, I think the enhancement took away too much of the DALL-E of it, but you can see where it did sharpen things up if you look over here in the details of the city. It does a fantastic job with more photographic images. And then when you go back to the project, it is available for you if you want to bring it in as a layer in its enhanced form. Okay, let's change this pretty significantly. I mean, we've got 4 very different versions, but you'll see that it does kind of maintain that weird dolly style. We got that hand up in the air like that, stirring that milkshake in a couple of them. It does produce an interesting result, to say the least. Let's actually hide these layers and just work with this original one. And let's work in a more realistic way for just a little bit. We're going to come back to this image to video feature after we get finished creating whatever image we're going to create here. Let's check out the AI editor. Now, this suite of tools is where a lot of power lies. This gives you the ability to add elements that aren't there, to insert real world objects, remove objects that you don't want, and expand the image overall. So let's go through these one by one. So local edit is inpainting. So let's inpaint something. How about we go back to 2020? We'll put a face mask on this guy. We're going to be very careful to trace all around his face where we want the outline of the mask to be, right? And we'll say blue stripe face mask. We'll just leave the control method to prompt and generate. And there you go, several varieties of blue striped face masks. Let's look at insert object. That's a little different from edit because we're talking about being able to place a very specific object. Like if you have a product that you're selling or a shirt you're selling and it has a certain look, let's create an object that will then put in the image. So we'll just use text to image to create an image on the layer, which we'll then bring into this layer here. So how about like a squirming Gila monster, black and yellow stripes. So he's not just any Gila monster. We'll click generate. These are great Gila monsters, but I want to see the full thing and not quite so much depth of field. A black and yellow striped Gila monster on a stick, and we'll generate that. Okay, so we have 2 amazing distinctive creatures. I'll choose this one. I'm just going to place it on the canvas here. I'm going to go over to my layers real quick, and I'm going to turn off everything behind the Gila monster. You'll see why in just a second. I'm going to remove the background to isolate the lizard from the rest of the image. And now I'm actually just going to save this image. Now I'm going to turn off that layer, turn back on my original layer. We'll click on AI Editor and Insert Object. And we will change the image here to our Gila monster. I'll just type yellow and black striped Gila monster. We'll put the object match balanced right in the middle, and now we need to mark an area where we want the Gila monster. So let's just replace the shake and everything else. I'm going to lasso this area, again keeping the hands where they are, and just define an area where this Gila monster might be. Click on generate. Now you can see it's put that specific Gila monster in his lap. Just for fun, let's take this object match down to natural blend and generate and see what kind of difference we get. I think a couple of these look even better, way more naturally like it's sitting in his lap, like this one here. What if we took something out? We'll use the AI eraser, and what don't we like? Well, we really don't like that hand, but if I take that out, what's going to happen? Shall we find out? I'm going to take it out and see what happens. I'm probably not going to like this one a little bit. Click on generate. It gave us some interesting options. Now that one looks actually almost okay. You may not even notice it. So let's just click that. So I fixed the hand problem. Hooray. I did kind of want to see it animated like that, but okay. In addition to lassoing objects we don't want anymore, we can use a brush and just paint on what we don't want, like that vent right there. It's just getting on my nerves, right? Generate, and we'll choose this one here where it actually worked well, and that's gone. I'll show you the generative expand, and then I'm going to undo it so we can stay focused on the project here. But let's say we wanted to see a little bit more what's going on over here with this dude. We actually have the ability to guide that with a prompt, and we could say something like, a red subway bench, and generate. It did give me a bench that I can work from. Let's move to the face kit, because this gives us the ability to repair faces that have gotten weird over time or were weird in the first place, or to actually do a face swap for character consistency, which was one of the main ways you could maintain consistency between images that were created without a model driving the face. The consistent character feature, which we're going to preview here in just a few minutes, does make a model out of images, so you have consistency that way and you don't have to do face swaps. Let's play with these 2 tools. Let's first start with face repair. Fixes and enhances generated faces. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to describe the desired facial characteristics. I'm just going to say middle-aged man with a beard. Preserve the original face. Yes, we can do that for right now. We're going to select the face in question and click generate. We've got some revised faces here. Let's do a version without preserving the original face. We'll take it down to diverse. Now we're clearly going to get a different face, but let's see what it does with the quality. I'm going to click on generate. Okay, check out those results. Definitely higher quality face, more expressive, more detailed, just better all the way around. Let's run it again, but let's take out the beard. Let's do clean shaven middle-aged man. Let's take this all the way down so it won't preserve the original face at all, because this last generation was still hanging on to the characteristics of the original, which had a beard. So this way we're not holding on to any of those characteristics, so it has flexibility. So it still wants to give it a little bit of a beard, but this guy right here will work just fine. The other beard was just too bushy to do an effective face swap with my face because I don't have a bushy beard. So let's go ahead and go back to Face Kit and do a face swap. Couldn't be simpler. We can just upload or drag an image and generate. Now we have various degrees of closeness to my face. Here's the one I think that has the closest likeness to that picture I uploaded, so now I can put that on there. Before we just play with a couple of other styles on top of this one, I want to use the enhance feature again, but this time in portrait mode, so I can show you how it preserves the face. So let's click on enhance again. I'm going to click on new enhance because it still has the one in there. When I do that, it brings in what's on the canvas. And now I'm going to click on portrait mode. I don't have any options here to do anything else. I'm just going to click enhance and we'll check back on that when it's done. So here's the enhanced version. You can see a lot more sharpness and detail in the image. And of course, at any time you can play with styles on this by going to the image to image tab, clicking something that seems fun to you, playing with the intensity, adding face match, and generating that. Okay, probably went a little too creative because we lost our Gila monster. As I got this anime generation, I realized it keeps trying to show the milkshake and then I didn't change the prompt correctly. So now I've changed it to man sitting on a subway holding a Gila monster. There's a red spiky ball sitting on a red bench in the background. Let's choose this American story style and generate that. There we go. That's better. More appropriate. The style is following the image. It's got the spiky ball in the background. That's super cool. I know you want me to get to it, so let's go ahead and get into the image to video feature. We'll animate this image and we'll show you how it is done. We'll go with this one right here. We'll click on image to video and now we have our interface. We'll clear out all that stuff. Once you have an image in there, you prompt it to tell it what you want to happen in the image. You don't have to describe the whole image again because it already sees it. So in this case, we'll say something like, man is whispering to a sleepy lizard in his lap as a spiky ball in the background rolls off a red bench. For now, we're not going to use the in-frame option. We'll bring the imagination down to its suggested range, somewhere in the balanced area. We'll just choose 5 seconds and we'll click on generate. These videos can take 5 to 10 minutes to generate, so let's start generating another one and then we'll look at some that I've already done. To demonstrate the beginning and the end frame, let's just go create a couple of images. We'll just go ahead and stay in this project. We'll go to text to image. We'll start from scratch. We'll say something like, a cat is sitting to the right of a fish bowl with a goldfish swimming in it. They are in a kitchen with the sun shining through a window. We'll go ahead and generate that. Get a starting image, and we'll start generating the second image, which is putting the cat on the left of a fishbowl with a goldfish swimming in it, just to see if we can maintain a similar style and get what we're looking for. Awesome. So this is exactly what we want. I'm going to download this image. I'm going to download this one, go back, and we will start with a new image. We're going to drag that first image of the cat in when the cat is on the right, and we're going to drag in as the end frame the image of the cat on the left. We'll say a cat walks around fishbowl as the fish swims nervously. We'll leave this slider right in the middle again. When you're using start and end frames, you only have the 5-second option. Otherwise, you have a 10-second option. And so when this one is done generating, I can go ahead and start this second one. So this just finished, so I'm going to go ahead and click generate. And now we'll check this one out. So the man is whispering to the Gila monster. The red ball is doing some crazy stuff back there. So you see the movement through the window and the man whispering to the Gila monster, who is behaving himself quite nicely while mayhem is happening here in the background. While the cat video is generating, I'll go to some other projects where I did image to video. We have this boy playing with an alligator. You saw this example at the beginning of this video. This was just a single image that was a 10-second clip, which actually rendered sort of backwards. So when I played it at the beginning of this video, I just reversed it so it made sense that he was talking to her and then she walked away. Sometimes when you do these 10-second videos, you're giving it a lot of time to get weird. So often you'll find that the 5-second videos are a little bit more accurate and stay more consistent. Here's another one just based off an image with the prompt to add the rain as he was looking out the window, cuddling the cat. And then here's another version of that one with just a little bit more cuddling going on. The hands do have too many fingers, but the movement itself is really nice and relaxing. I've got some weird stuff going on with my throat. Here's another example, the still image, and then the video that was created. And here is our cat video. It starts out great, and then his head appears out of his butt at the very last second. But you can see what's going on here. The fish stays mostly in the bowl. His tail goes out of the edge a little bit, and so does his nose. But you can always play with the creativity slider to see if you can get more accurate results, but pretty amazing. To demonstrate the product background, it's pretty simple, but very cool. The idea is you have some sort of an object or product of some kind that you want to showcase in a nice environment, but you just have the product image. For example, let's just say that this, our spiky ball, is the product. Well, the first thing we need to do is remove the background. So we're going to do that. We'll click over here on product background. And now, since the background is already removed, we can close that up. We can choose from any of these predetermined backgrounds, like the bokeh, for example, and it will automatically start rendering that. Or we can upload an image so we can give it a specific background that way. If we wanted the images of a shoreline, and I will just enhance that with on a beach and click on generate. Here's what happened with their bokeh preset. And then, of course, you can prompt whatever you'd like. Your product on a mound of green slime with puppies sniffing it. It's been a long video. Here we are on the beach, and there we have it with our green slime and our puppy sniffing around. But more than likely, you'd want to use one of their templates or actually put some thought into it, not put your product in a mound of green slime with puppies or anything else sniffing around it. Much better. We'll do one more project to preview the consistent character feature. Click on a project. Go ahead and click on 16:9 and get that canvas going, and then click on consistent character. The idea of consistent character is it's a character that you can reference in all of your images that will look the same every time you use it right here. They have some predetermined ones, and I've got a couple that I've already done, Bob and my assistant Presley. So if you want to have Lip Boy doing other things, you just modify the prompt, but he's always going to look the same. So Lip, chubby, curly-haired kid, green cap, yellow hoodie. Let's change it to a blue cap, red hoodie, white shorts, and yellow kicks. The heck are kicks? We'll just keep red hoodie and white shorts building a sandcastle or shopping at the grocery store. So here he is, blue cap, red hoodie, white shorts, building a sandcastle at the beach. He looks exactly the same. And here's the same exact character walking through the grocery store, wearing the exact same clothes. Now, the shoes change color, but I didn't specify shoe color, so he has the right to do that. But he is wearing his red hoodie and his white shorts and his blue cap. So this time, let's use my model. It defaults to Bob, middle-aged, male with gray hair, specs, and a beard characterized by mature, wise, and slightly rugged appearance. I promise I didn't write that. The AI did that. Is building a sand castle, generate, and is shopping in the grocery store. Now, there are no strength sliders or anything like that. I can't make the impact of my character stronger or weaker. It is what it is. Here I am at the sandcastle, same guy building sandcastles. I didn't specify anything about shirts and stuff on this guy. We just want to make sure it's the same guy. In terms of it being an exact likeness of me, it's not as precise as some of the other LoRa trainings I've shared here on the channel, but for the purposes of creating consistent characters, especially if we stylize these in some sort of a cartoonish way, this is fine. So here we got me in the grocery store. Same guy, obviously. I could change this prompt and say 3 Disney Pixar render of, and click generate. Now we've got a more stylized version of me. I could probably up the details a little bit more and say things like animated render of Bob, etc. I'll take out the slightly rugged appearance and I'll say big eyes and exaggerated features. But of course, I really don't have to do any of this because I can take any of these images and run them through the stylization process at any time. For example, I could just bring this guy in, go to image, choose my style, tune face, bring the style intensity down a little bit, structural match will bring up, face match we definitely want on, click on generate. Now here's the result from our text prompt where I said wide eyes and exaggerated features. Did a great job, totally what I love it. And here's the results from using that tune style. So it's inherently a different look than Disney Pixar, which I said before, and if I like any of these, then I bring them in and run them through enhancement. So how are these things built? When you click on consistent character and you click here, you have the option of adding a new character, and it's simply a matter of dragging and dropping 1 to 30 images of the character that you'd like to create a model of. And while we won't wait for this particular model to be built, you've seen examples of how it works. In this case, I've got 20 images. I'm going to drag them right here, let them all upload. I have, as always, a variety of styles and lightings and things like that, so there's some variety in the image and you have flexibility. Give it a name, Tracy, and then you click on train and wait for the process to finish. When that's done, like I did with Presley, she'll be available from the drop-down menu and a default prompt will be there, and then you can start prompting. Is building a sand castle, is shopping in the grocery store. And there's Presley building a sandcastle, and she got a friend with her here. And here she is in the grocery store. It isn't cell-for-cell likeness like some of the more detailed Laura models that we've built, but for creating characters, especially if you stylize them, it does a great job and you don't have to do face swapping anymore. You've got a strong model foundation to work from, and then you can apply any styles you want to on top of it. So I know it was a ton of tools, but so much creativity to express, and once you get into it and understand the layers and start mixing and matching and creating your own styles, you can see how you can lose hours in here. If these are the types of tools you like to learn more about, well, why don't you just subscribe? Because these are the types of things we talk about all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I